MGA report card is the advisors talking about their own MGA. So for us, we feel that we develop a value proposition, an advisor offering that we feel is probably the best in the industry. And from the report card, it helps us to how we make changes going forward and what type of things we're going to add also going forward for advisors to make sure that we have the best value proposition in the industry. Well, recognition is very, very important to us at IDC World Source. As my partner Andy Galatly has often said, being an advisor can be a very lonely business. Often, most advisors are out there by themselves, running their practice, don't have a lot of people to discuss, have conversations with on a daily basis with the highs and lows of being in the business. So anytime you can recognize an advisor, and what I say, catch an advisor doing something right, you want to recognize that. So we do a number of things. We have sales campaigns, of course. We have a number of conferences, vice presidents conferences on a regional basis, president's conference on a national basis. We run a number of very, what I call top drawer national education conferences. So we do a number of things. We have our own IDC World Source Awards program. And the one thing about all these things that we do, it's not just for one group. We have a number of peer groups, so everybody can compete and have a chance to win and be recognized at IDC World Source. And that is very, very important to us. Well, I can't speak for all our peer companies, our peer MGAs. I can only talk about what we have. Again, the industry is changing very, very rapidly, and technology is becoming a big part of it. We're trying to embrace technology as best we can, and again, we're working with our insurance carrier partners and our vendors to try to offer the best technology package that is available to advisors. And it comes from everything to our business processing systems that we use, to the various marketing initiatives that advisors can tap into to help with the not only development or building of their practice, but helping to retain relationships with their own clients. So from that standpoint, I'm not going to go through each different one because we could be here all day doing that. But those areas that are important to us are the areas of business processing, marketing initiatives for our advisors, and different ways to communicate with your own clientele. If we can develop processes and systems that help the advisor be more in front of their clients, then that's what we're going to do. The back office support really involves two areas. The first area, of course, is that relationship you have with your case coordinator. You have a dedicated case coordinator who handles all of your business from a standpoint of getting it processed. And that relationship is obviously very important because that's where you work with with the carriers and with your clients to get that business settled. The second relationship is with what I call the business development executive. And again, you would have a dedicated business development executive within your area to work with you on the front end of all your cases, helping to develop the case, helping to market the case to a client, and obviously helping to get it closed. So those two relationships, I think, are key to advisors and helping not only getting started with some of this business, but getting it closed off. And like I said, at IDC, we take it very seriously that our case coordinators, our business development people work very hard with our advisors. We have a big team for a reason. First of all, we're a national company and we're across the country, so you have to have a big team. But secondly, most importantly, with our BDEs, our business development executives, is that almost all of them were ex-sales guys. They were out in the field doing this before they became business development executives. And that's key when you're working with advisors because they can really help you in a situation in the field when you're trying to close a deal with a client. The other thing that's very important with our business development executives, sales are the biggest part of it, but there's other things that they do that they bring to the table that are very helpful to our advisors. We have a number of initiatives in technology. We have a succession planning program. We have various vendors like Tycoon. We have financial planning software like Razor. Our BDEs are out in the field working with their advisors to show them how to use these tools. They're not just something you got to tap into an internet and work it out by yourself. This is something that we want our people to go out and work with our people so they understand how to use these tools. The one thing I'm most proud of, we were one of the first MGAs to actually have a compliance department or a compliance individual. This is going back like 6-7 years ago when most carriers and most MGAs weren't even looking at compliance. And we've had a dedicated person for some time, and this individual, I don't mind saying his name, is Eric Watchtal, is our Director of Compliance, has done a marvelous job, a fantastic job of communicating to our advisors what their responsibilities are when it comes to full compliance. To the point that we get our own advisors coming back to us and saying, I get more information from your company on compliance than I get from the carriers directly. And that's always a good sign. And Eric Wachtel and his team have been very active in getting out in the field, working with advisors, helping them prepare for things like FINTRAC audits or various types of insurance carrier audits, et cetera, various regulators' audits, so that they can be prepared when that time comes. And that is integral, I think, not only to success with our organization, but helping advisors in the future from a standpoint of being compliant and not having to worry about the possibility of some kind of infraction where they could hamper their licensing. So we've done this report since the inception of it. We were one of I think the only 4 MGAs, I think, from the inception that have been in every MGA report card. And what surprises me, I think, more than anything, is that our marks continue to go up, right? And I think that's from a couple of reasons. Number one, we take these type of things very seriously. It's our chance to view ourselves and how we're doing in the eyes of our advisors, right? That's important. And the second thing is, this industry is constantly changing. If you think you arrived, right, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or if it ain't, is that the term? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That doesn't apply to our industry anymore. I mean, our industry is constantly changing. You are always tweaking, adjusting, adding, deleting some things to make sure that your product, all right, your offering is the most current and most valuable to advisors. So from that standpoint, nothing really surprised me. What would surprise me is if we fell off the face of the earth at some point in this thing, but I don't think that'll ever happen because, again, we take this very seriously. We want to do the best job we can for advisors. And like I said, whatever the results come out, we take the information from that to plan how we're going to change things in the upcoming year. As an organization, we take planning for our company very seriously. And I don't just mean planning like financial planning or, education. We look at education. We look at advisor initiatives. We look at technology. We look at all these various areas of our business, not only for us, but what we plan and expect to change or add or alter for our advisors. And we do that every year. We start in September. We do 3 or 4 or 5 drafts. We actually bring in what we call our board of directors, which we change every year. And what our board of directors is, it is a sampling of our advisors, which we change every year. And we bring them in around November, and we walk through all the initiatives that we have planned for next year for our advisors to get their feedback on it before we actually announce it in the new year. And often at those meetings, we will get various ideas or changes, or there'll be some tweaking that comes from our advisors' input, which is very important. So when we plan our year, the upcoming year, and we're obviously mostly successful in doing that, that's why it doesn't surprise me that we get these kind of results, because it's not happening by accident. It is a plan. Every staff person at IDC WorldSource knows exactly what our company's goals are, what our objectives are, what our mandate is, what our mission is. Everybody does. We have staff meetings on a weekly basis, et cetera. So everybody's fully aware of what they're expected to do. And the one thing I've always liked about our company, when everything works right in our business, which is seldom, but when everything works right, the cases get settled quickly, monies get paid, all those things are clicking, going, firing in all cylinders, et cetera. Pretty easy business. But when something goes sideways, and in our business, it goes sideways quite often. I always say Murphy's Law creeps into our business more than any other industry that I'm aware of. And when that happens, how does your MGA handle it? Do they take like a SWAT team type approach to it when something goes sideways, something goes off? Or do they get around to it when it's convenient? I like to think we're that SWAT team. When something goes bad with an advisor, something goes sideways, we're in there, we're trying to work with them as quickly as we can to get it resolved. I think that's one of the major differences about IDC WorldSource.